Welcome friends once again to another TV Box Top review. Today's streaming device is the TOX2 Android 10 TV stick. It runs on 2GB of LPDDR4 RAM and 16GB of internal storage running on an Allwinner H313 CPU. This latest device by TOX falls into the budget category and is designed primarily for streaming movies and TV shows, so don't expect it to be a high-performance hardware device, but I'll still show what it can and cannot do during this video. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. You have that right after a quick unboxing. Welcome back. So in the box, being that it's a TV stick, its contents are slightly different. You get the TV stick itself, one infrared remote control, one 6 inches female to male HDMI cable, one USB to Type-C power cable, one infrared receiver cable, and a user manual. Its body is made of plastic with ventilation holes with an LED power light and the TOX2 branding to its front. At the base it has one RJ45 100 megabits per second Ethernet LAN port and two USB 2.0 ports. On the left it has a 3.5mm jack for the infrared receiver cable, a reset pinhole button, and a Type-C port for providing power using a separate power adapter or a USB port to the back of your TV. On the opposite side, it has one micro SD card slot. And to the head of the stick, you have the male HDMI connector. So I'll now set this up and continue. So I'm back and I've successfully connected the TV stick to my TV and capture card. And its boot up process displays the TOX animation for a few seconds, followed by the option to select between two launchers. The first launcher is called Quick Step, which is a launcher that provides features such as long click menu pop-ups and drag and drop shortcuts suitable when used with controllers that feature a mouse pointer. The second launcher is called the TOX launcher. This launcher is suited for those who prefer to use the direction pad and OK button to navigate their boxes. It consists of these large main icons that cannot be changed, and it has a shortcuts bar here to the bottom. Both launchers feature a navigation bar and a notifications bar with full system controls. So for this demonstration, I choose to use the Quick Step launcher as I love to use controllers that feature an air mouse to navigate my boxes. With this firmware, there's one thing I would like to bring to your attention, and that is, for now, it is ill-advised to attempt to change the wallpaper, as there is a bug that makes the display twitch continuously, and the only way to stop it is to reset the firmware. With that said, as soon as I connected to the internet, I was prompted with two firmware updates. One updated the auto HDR feature, and the other updated the auto frame rate for 4K resolutions. So after this review, I anticipate that they will release an update to fix the issue with the changing of the wallpapers. The features of this firmware are identical to the firmware found on Yugo's models, so it's clear that it was created by the same developer, which in this case is a good thing, because whoever that is, the developer is the best in the industry. It has 4K display up to 2160p at 60Hz, and this is true 60Hz as detected here by my capture card. It has HDR display feature with the option to have it always on or set to auto when needed. It has built-in screen rotation feature. It has audio output options, and I will test for digital surround sound audio formats later in the video. It has a built-in gamepad keymapping feature. It has Samba server settings. It has mouse pointer options. It has HDMI CEC options. You have 54 various languages to choose from. It has Google Assistant feature. And finally, it has a root switch that comes in the form of the Magisk application that you either install or uninstall to gain root permissions. For pre-installed apps, these are what come pre-installed, so I will install some additional apps needed for this review and continue. Okay, so I'm back and I'll start with its system and hardware information. It shows here that the manufacturer is TOX, which stands for Trust on X. The main board used in this model is the Sun 50 IW9P1. This information is important to those who create custom ROMs and for those who would like to run a Linux distribution. It has 2 GB of LPDDR4 RAM and 16 GB of eMMc internal storage, from which this is the remainder. You have up to 64 GB expandable storage via the microSD card slot. The Bluetooth version is 5.0. Its CPU is the Allwinner H313 and it's a 64-bit quad-core Cortex-A53 CPU clocked at 1.3 GHz, but it's configured in 32-bit mode that can only support 32-bit apps and games, as it only has support for 32-bit ABIs. For display and graphics, its GPU is the Mali G31 with OpenGL ES version 3.2 support. It has dual-band 2.4 plus 5 GHz Wi-Fi adapter. As mentioned earlier, its operating system is Android 10, and after I installed the Magisk application, it's now rooted. Under devices, it shows that it does not have Vulkan support. Under temperature, it idles around 73 degrees Celsius, and this is a characteristic of the Allwinner chipset, for which they should have included a built-in mini cooling fan. Under codecs, it shows all of the decoders for the playback of 4K HDR videos, but I couldn't identify any digital surround sound audio decoders. This doesn't mean that there aren't any. I will test for those later in the video. So that's its system and hardware information. So for streaming movies and TV shows, you should note that this TV stick is not Google certified, nor does it have the required digital rights to protect premium services such as Netflix and Amazon Prime Video from piracy. It will, however, allow you to use these services, but they are restricted to basic 480p resolution, regardless if you have a premium account. As mentioned, I installed the Magisk application, and if I open a root checker app, it shows that I now have root permissions for the stick. This means that you have the freedom to install any app you want, whether from the Play Store or sideloaded APK. I also wish to confirm that you have full access to all the apps on the Google Play Store with no restrictions or hidden apps. When it comes to 4K video playback, I highly advise that you use the media player that's built into the default file browser, as playing these videos with the VLC player as I normally do resulted in poor video playback. However, when played through the media player that's built into the default file explorer, they played smoothly and triggered the HDR feature on my TV. Okay, so let me correct that. Some of the videos played okay and triggered the HDR feature on my TV, while the jellyfish video had some issues and the soccer video failed to play. When connected to my audio receiver, it can only produce Dolby Atmos and basic DTS. It cannot produce DTS-X, DTS HD Master Audio, Dolby Plus, THX, or Dolby True HD.
Powerful moving audio that transcends from channels to moving around you with pinpoint accuracy.
Executioners, judges.
Also keep in mind that you have to use the default media player for surround sound audio, as other media players failed to even play the videos. For those interested in casting their mobile device to the TV stick, you can do so using the AirScreen app. It's not the official Miracast that mirrors your device in HD, but it uses the standard quality Android built-in casting feature. This TV stick was not designed for playing Android games due to its CPU clocked at 1.3 GHz, and its limited RAM and internal storage will result in poor graphics handling. Also keep in mind that the Allwinner chipset has the tendency to overheat during 3D gaming. With that said, it can indeed play some games, but I highly recommend you stick to very low graphics games such as Candy Crush. So to close things off, let's look at its benchmarks and where it places on my rankings chart. Its RAM and internal storage resulted in a RAM copy speed of 2426 MB per second. Its internal storage has a read speed of 149 MB per second and a write speed of 53. Its Wi-Fi and Ethernet LAN port speed test resulted in the 5 GHz band achieving maximum bandwidth on my network of 150 megabits per second. The 2.4 GHz band achieved 62%, and the LAN port, which is not a gigabit LAN port, achieved only 26%. Its CPU benchmark resulted in a Geekbench 4 score of 537 single-core and 1397 multi-core. For its graphics benchmark, due to it not having Vulkan support, it only qualified for 2 tests, the iStorm Extreme test and the SlingShot test, and it scored 4124 in the iStorm Extreme and 406 in the SlingShot test. And in the Antutu benchmark, it scored 53,427. So those were the benchmarks. Let's now see where it places on my rankings chart. So after entering the scores on the chart, the TV stick placed at position 65 in reference to Antutu benchmark scores, which is expected, and it's also okay because it was developed as a budget solution for only streaming movies and TV shows and not as a high-end performance gaming device. A link to this chart can be found in the description below this video, where you can check out my huge list of boxes along with price comparison pages using these links right here. So in summary, the TOX2 is a great TV stick for streaming movies and TV shows. It's not a high-end performance device, and I wish they had used the latest Logic hardware instead of Allwinner, but surprisingly it has all the unique features seen in Yugo's models, which sort of makes up for its limited hardware. So this brings me to the end of this review. If you are interested in purchasing this TV stick, links can be found in the description directly below this video, where you can get it at the lowest price online. Give this video the thumbs up if you enjoyed the presentation. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell before leaving if you haven't already done so. Stay tuned and I'll be seeing you in the next one.